الرحيم. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك، فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي، وأقل يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعثرة قد أقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها، على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه، ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه، ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره وحمده، الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يداه، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه، ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما. إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير، مع حاجة بي إليه عظيمة، وغناك عنه قديم، وهو عندي كثير، وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي، وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي، وصفحك عن ظلمي، وسترك على قبيح عملي، وحلمك عن كثير جرمي، عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي. أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك، وأريتني من قدرتك، وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا، وأسألك مستأنسا، لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك. فإن أبطأ عني عتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي أبطأ عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلم أر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد لئيم منك علي يا رب. إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك، وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك، وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك، كأن لي التطول عليك، فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك. فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك، إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه، وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام، الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى، تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادله، ولا شبيه يشاكله، ولا ظهير يعاضده. قهر بعزته الأعزاء وتواضع لعظمته العظماء، فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أناديه، ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أعصيه، ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي. فكم من موهبة هنيئة قد أعطاني، وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني، وبهجة مونقة قد أراني. فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه، ولا يغلق بابه، ولا يرد سائله، ولا يخيب آمله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين، ويرفع المستضعفين، ويضع المستكبرين، ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاصم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها، وترجف الأرض وعمارها، وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق، ويرزق ولا يرزق، ويطعم ولا يطعم، ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى، وهو حي لا يموت، بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك، أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين، عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على صبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي، حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك، استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله، مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له، أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا، يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وأعزز به، وانصره وانتصر به، وانصره نصرا عزيزا، وافتح له فتحا يسيرا، واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم أظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله وتذل بها النفاق وأهله، وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك، وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملناه، وما قصرنا عنه فبلغناه. اللهم المم به شعثنا، واشعب به صدعنا، وارتق به فتقنا، وكثر به قلتنا، وأعزز به ذلتنا، وأغن به عائلنا، واقض به عن مغرمنا، واجبر به فقرنا، وسد به خلتنا، ويسر به عسرنا، وبيض به وجوهنا، وفك به أسرنا، وأنجح به طلبتنا، وأنجز به مواعيدنا، واستجب به دعوتنا، وأعطنا به سؤلنا، وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا، وأعطنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين. اشف به صدورنا، وأذهب به غيظ قلوبنا، واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله، وغيبة ولينا، وكثرة عدونا، وقلة عددنا، وشدة الفتن بنا، وتظاهر الزمان علينا. فصل على محمد وآله، وأعنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجله، وبضر تكشفه، ونصر تعزه، وسلطان حق تظهره، ورحمة منك تجللنا، وعافية منك تلبسنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صل على محمد وآل الطاهرين.
Ahsan, Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you and accept your a'mal, Habibi. Thank you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your amal, to accept your fasting, to accept your salat, to accept all of the good deeds that you do in this month, and to push away all of the sins and all of the pains and trials and hardships of this life from you, at least in this holy month, so you can be focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bihaqq Muhammad wa ali Muhammad sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Yesterday, my brothers and sisters, we discussed one of the aspects of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam's personality, one of the merits of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, and that is al-hilm, and that is translated to clemency, but we're not going to use the word clemency because it's not one that many people understand. We're going to say that al-hilm, clemency, is mercy or forgiveness accompanied by care, accompanied by kindness. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, as we said, exemplified this greatly. And we said we can take from Imam al-Hasan and mirror his actions, which we are told to do and commanded to do. But if we analyze the words of Imam al-Hasan, the actions of Imam al-Hasan, we get something much deeper. And we said that Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam constantly, when he was confronted with negativity, he would take that negativity and give it back as positivity. When he was insulted, he would first and foremost, before even feeling offended or saying that I'm offended or insulting back, the Imam alayhi salam first and foremost would look at that person and say, this person has a problem. Now I'm going to go help him. Tayyib, ya Imam, how did you know he had a problem? Because if he didn't have a problem, he wouldn't be insulting me. When he's insulting me, I know I don't have a problem. I know myself very well. I know I'm not a liar. I know I'm not a cheat. I know I'm not a bad person. I know I'm not this. I know I'm not that. I know these things about myself. So it's obvious that this person has an issue. Either he can't see the reality or he's a liar. There's a problem in his personality, not mine. And when I recognize that he has a problem in his personality, the first mode of action that I, as an imam, this is Imam al-Hasan speaking, that I, as an imam, must do is reach out to this person and say, you have an issue, let me help you. And so that's exactly what the Imam alayhi salam did. When the man insulted him, he said, brother, you seem like you're not from these parts. You seem like you're not from these areas. You're a stranger. If you need food, we'll give you food. You need water, we'll give you water. You need anything, come to us, we'll help you. We will be there for you. This person fell in love with Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. And we discussed many of the other different lessons that we can take from Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam when we analyze, taking the underlying message of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. We discussed them yesterday. So if you missed yesterday's lecture, I highly advise you go back and listen to yesterday's lecture, and you will benefit from that, inshallah ta'ala. Today, my brothers and sisters, we are going to discuss something we alluded to yesterday, and that is what happened with Imam al-Hasan and Muawiyah. We're going to discuss it a little bit more today, and we're going to delve into it deeper. And the goal of today's lecture, my brothers and sisters, before anything practical, usually we want to take something practical from the lectures, but before anything practical, the goal of today is for us to realize, understand, and recognize the value of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, the sacrifice that he made, and what his sacrifice and his decision-making, his wise decision in that moment, the decision that he made, which we will see, how that decision affected us. What was the value of that decision? And how Imam al-Hasan's decision gave us what we have, gave us this religion. I want us to leave this lecture, my brothers and sisters, with a rekindled idea of who Imam al-Hasan is, so that we give him more attention. Because sad to say, In our communities, the Imams alayhimus salam generally are unknown. And if I was to ask just a random person in the community, give me 3 facts about Imam al-Jawad, I think most people will stutter and not know what to say. When it comes to Imam al-Hassan, it's even more. Why? Because as we said yesterday, he's overshadowed by the Imams around him, as in the direct Imams around him. Imam Ali, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, Sayyid al-Zahra, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he's overshadowed by them. But the fact of the matter is, if it wasn't for Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam's decision in that moment, we would not have had Karbala, we would not have had Imam al-Sadiq, we would not be al-Ja'fariyah, we would not be al-Imamiyah, we wouldn't have any of it. So today, my brothers and sisters, all I want for you is to leave this lecture and to have a reinvigorated idea of who Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam is. This is what we want in today's lecture. This is the goal behind today's lecture, my brothers and sisters. So we will begin with Allah, salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Listen what happened, my brothers and sisters. Pay attention. Imam Ali alayhi salam in Kufa was killed by Abd al-Rahman ibn Muljam. So Imam Ali alayhi salam just passed away. Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, they finished burying their father, they finished everything. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam is now the rightful Imam. And he has to take on from Imam Ali alayhi salam. And as we know, Imam Ali alayhi salam was killed when he was the Khalifa. Yani the first person that was Khalifa was Abu Bakr, then Umar, then Uthman, then Imam Ali. Imam Ali actually became the Khalifa. And when you go to our Sunni brothers and sisters, they actually believe that Imam Ali alayhi salam was the Khalifa at one point in time. For about 5 or so years, Imam Ali alayhi salam took on the role of Khalifa. Now we believe that Imam Ali alayhi salam was Imam all the time, and he should have been the first. No problem. Things happened. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Imam Ali alayhi salam eventually became the Khalifa. No problem. Imam Ali was killed. Who does he appoint after him? He appoints who? Imam al-Hassan. Now to give you a backstory. At the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam, during his 5-year reign as Khalifa, Imam Ali alayhi salam fought 3 civil wars. Jamal, the battle of Jamal with Aisha, the battle of Siffin with Muawiyah, keep that name in mind, we're going to come back to him a lot, and then the Harb al-Nahrawan, which was with Al-Khawarij. طيب, the one with Aisha, put it aside, we can discuss it another day inshallah. The one with Muawiyah, who's Muawiyah? Muawiyah was a man from Bani Umayyah. And he was the son of Abu Sufyan. You guys know who Abu Sufyan is, right? Abu Sufyan was the staunchest enemy to Rasulullah. He was a kafir. And he used to fight Rasulullah. And he actually put together an army to fight Rasulullah in Al-Ahzab, Al-Maraqat Al-Khandaq, against Rasulullah, where they attacked Medina. This was Abu Sufyan. His son is a man by the name of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Muawiyah. This Muawiyah became Muslim. Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second Khalifa, appointed Muawiyah as the governor of Syria on Umar's behalf. Yani Umar was living in Medina. He had people in Syria that he was governing as the Muslim king, emperor, whatever you wanted to call him. Who did he appoint as a governor? A man by the name of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. He was the governor of the people of Syria. Hello? Jamil. Uthman comes to the Khilafah and keeps Muawiyah as the governor in Syria. Imam Ali alayhi salam comes as the Khalifa. And he knows that Muawiyah is not a good person. And he wasn't a good person at all. He was not fair. He was oppressive. He wasn't a good person. He was not supposed to be in that role. Imam Ali alayhi salam knew him for who he was. Imam Ali understood his true colors. The people around him, the people in Syria, the Muslimin, didn't understand who he was. He was a hypocrite. You know what a hypocrite is? Hypocrite is someone who claims to be a righteous person, but on the inside is working against Islam. Is a kafir, disbelief. Muawiyah was a hypocrite. And you're going to see how Imam al-Hassan exposes that. Who used to see right through Muawiyah? Ali bin Abi Talib. Because he used to know. The people around Muawiyah didn't know. Or they ignored it. But the general population, the people, they didn't have an idea of who Muawiyah truly was. As in Muawiyah was a kafir. Muawiyah was a tyrant. Muawiyah was a fasiq. Muawiyah was not a good person, not a good Muslim at all. But he used to hide it. His son, Yazid, was open about it. He used to drink in public and actually openly said, La wahyun nazal, no message came, no revelation came down. He clearly said it. He clearly said it. Muawiyah was, secretive. Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he became the Khalifa, he sent a message to Muawiyah saying, you're fired from your position. I don't want you as my governor in Syria anymore. You're fired. Muawiyah, he knew that Imam Ali was the rightful Khalifa. And he knew that Imam Ali saw right through him. What did he do? Muawiyah got his army ready and declared war against Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imam Ali alayhi salam and Muawiyah are not at war, now at war. They met in battle, and the war was called Ma'arakat Siffin. Ma'arakat Siffin. Who was the winner of that war? Technically speaking, it should have been Imam Ali alayhi salam. But there was a peace treaty or a truce that happened between the two sides. Imam Ali was against this truce, but it happened. Muawiyah went his separate way, and Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was left picking up the pieces, which brought about the third ma'araka, the third battle called Al-Nahrawan with Al-Khawarij. Who are Al-Khawarij? Al-Khawarij were people who hated Imam Ali, that were in his army. They split away from the army of Imam Ali alayhi salam and ended up fighting him. Imam Ali alayhi salam in one battle, the battle of Nahrawan, destroyed the Khawarij, but there were some remnants of them left. Now that we understand what Imam Ali alayhi salam had to deal with, we now understand what Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam had to take on. So listen. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam becomes the Khalifa. He declares himself. He says, he stands up in front of the people. He says, whoever knows me knows me. Whoever doesn't know me, then know I'm the son of Ali bin Abi Talib al-Hassan. And I'm your Khalifa. And I'm taking on from my father. Hello? Jameel. Who was in Syria still? Muawiyah. Who was still lurking around the people, amongst the people? Some of the Khawarij. Keep this in mind. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam takes allegiance from the people of Kufa at the time. The riwayah says 42,000 people pledged allegiance to Imam al-Hassan. 42,000. Similarly, he sent some of his men to Basra, to Madain, other parts of Iraq. He had overwhelming popularity. Overwhelming popularity. He even went as far as getting his allegiance from the people of Iran, people of Persia at the time. And as you know, at the time, they didn't have cars and they didn't have WhatsApp and they didn't have email, right? You'd have to send someone there, and it was a journey. It was a journey. Send someone there to deliver the message. If they accept, then you send someone back. Yes? Imam al-Hassan's popularity, his acceptance amongst the masses, reached all the way to Iran. So he was very, very, very popular. Ibn Kathir, who was a prominent Sunni scholar, and I believe he's also a historian, he says that the popularity of Imam al-Hassan's reign as Khalifa in the very beginning was more popular than Imam Ali alayhi salam's caliphate. And as you may know, Imam Ali alayhi salam became the Khalifa not by Uthman appointing him, by the people coming to Imam Ali and accepting him and pleading with him to become the Khalifa. Because of what they saw from the other three. Because of the destruction that happened at the time of the other three to Islam altogether. Imam al-Hassan's Khilafah was more popular, more accepted than Imam Ali's Khilafah. So Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam started off strong. Jameel. Who stood in his way? None other than Muawiyah. Listen what happened. The news reaches Syria that Imam al-Hassan is now the Khalifa. And Muawiyah is in his place as governor. So who does he report back to? Imam al-Hassan. So essentially, Muawiyah, this arrogant individual, is now told the Khalifa, your Khalifa is Hassan, al-Hassan ibn Ali, who was a younger man, probably younger than Muawiyah, I'm sure. And who does Muawiyah have to report back to? Imam al-Hassan. He was fighting his father 2-3 years before, and now he has to report to the son. What does Muawiyah do? Muawiyah gets his men together and they have a conference. They speak amongst themselves, what should we do? They start to hatch a plan. They say, now we have to do two things. Two things. For us to actually have a chance against Al-Hassan, we have to start working under the table, and we have two goals. Like, what are the goals, ya Muawiyah? Number one, we send spies to Medina. We send spies to Medina or Kufa, wherever Imam Hassan alayhi salam was at that time. And I believe it was Medina. Imam Hassan moved back to Medina. If not, then Kufa. Regardless of where it was. We send spies to where Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam is situated, or amongst the people of Imam al-Hassan. These spies are to collect information, one, and two, if they are able to kill Imam al-Hassan, they are to kill him on the spot. Collect information. And if these spies make their way to Al-Hassan ibn Ali, they are to kill him from the very beginning. Very beginning. And subhanAllah, it's not surprising then when you see Yazid ibn Muawiyah ordering his men, telling him, if you see Al-Hussain ibn Ali holding on to the Kaaba, to the cloth of the Kaaba, kill him on the spot. It's not surprising, yani. Like father, like son. Muawiyah sends his men with this goal. Tayyib. The other group of men, or maybe even the same men, they have another goal as well. What's the other goal? They are to go to the tribe leaders. As you know, at the time, there was tribes. And even today in Iraq, there's tribes. Different tribes. And each tribe has a leader. They are to go to the tribe leaders and bribe the tribe leaders to turn against Imam al-Hassan. To buy the tribe leaders to turn against Imam al-Hassan. When you tell me, Ahmad, there was popularity, there was acceptance of Imam al-Hassan. How is it that these tribe leaders were being bought out? And they were successful, by the way. They were buying out tribe leaders. And the people of those tribes, they were giving them money. Muawiyah was generous, not in the right way, generous in the wrong way. He used to give out money like it was cookies to people that he needed to buy out. So he started to buy. You tell me, Ahmad, how? How is it that these people that were accepting of Imam al-Hassan yesterday betray him for some money tomorrow? I'll tell you, listen. Remember when I told you Imam Ali alayhi salam in his life, in his khilafah, about 5 years, almost 5 years, he fought 3 wars. Remember when I told you that? Okay, good. Amongst those wars, we said was Battle of An-Nahrawan with Al-Khawarij, who were already against Imam Ali alayhi salam. But they were also against Muawiyah. They were against both parties that fought in Siffin. They were against Imam Ali. They were also against Muawiyah. Okay? So those people already were shaky. Those people didn't even like Imam Ali. So now they're fighting under the son of Imam Ali. They're not really that loyal anyway. Those are Khawarij. Number one. Number two, not everybody that accepts the Khalifa as the Khalifa accept him as Imam. There's a distinction between Imam and Khalifa. Khalifa is governor. Khalifa is, like Trudeau, Justin Trudeau. Khalifa is like Doug Ford. That's all he is. No different. He's just a governor. He's just a guy in power. Bukra, he dies, someone else takes over. Tomorrow he's dead, someone else takes over. That's it. Simple as that. No Imam, no revelation, no inspiration, no Quran, no hadith. None of that. He's merely a guy sitting on a chair. That's it. That is what the Khalifa means to these people. And so, Umar becoming the Khalifa, Ali becoming the Khalifa, Uthman becoming the Khalifa, doesn't matter to them. If I'm getting my check at the end of the month, if I have a stable job, if I have a house, if there's peace in the city, I'm good. Who is the Khalifa? Imam, stole it, took it, war, killing. I don't care. If I'm good, I'm good. Most of the people were this way. They didn't understand the idea of imamah. They didn't understand that imamah was a continuation of nubuwah. All they saw was a person in the chair. And so when they saw Imam al-Hassan sit down on the chair, no different than Doug Ford becoming the premier. No different than Trudeau becoming the prime minister. And so the same way that the people will turn on political individuals for money, these people will turn on Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam for some money, a lot of money, maybe even a little bit of money. They didn't care. Because their aqeedah, their belief in imamah was not there. And so this person was just like all those that came before him and all those that will come tomorrow. No different. He was not an imam to them. And so he was not mafrud al-ta'a, meaning they didn't have to obey him. They will rebel against him tomorrow. Even if he becomes the Khalifa, even if he wins against Muawiyah, and they're good, and they're having a great life, just for the fun of it, they want to rebel, they'll rebel against him. They don't care. Most of the people were like this. Most of the people were like this. They were greedy. They were greedy. And if they were bought, all of their followers, the tribe leaders were bought, all of the followers would follow with them. Because again, the tribal mentality is exactly that. Follow the leader blindly. Don't think, just follow. This is exactly what they did. So now we have three reasons. Khawarij wanted anything to get at Muawiyah, but they were not necessarily loyal to Imam al-Hasan, so they followed Imam al-Hasan. But they just wanted to kill Muawiyah. One. Number two, you had people that were just greedy. They didn't care who the Imam was. They didn't have aqeedah. They were easily bought out. Number three, number two. Number three, many of them just followed their tribal leaders. If the leader was with Imam al-Hasan, the guy will just follow. He doesn't know why he's with Imam al-Hasan. So if Muawiyah tomorrow comes and tells him, hey, listen, I'll give you $50, leave Imam al-Hasan. Well, like, I don't even know why I was with him in the first place. Sheikh Flan was with him, so I just followed him. Now there's the fourth. The fourth were, I don't want to say the worst, but the most pathetic. The fourth group from the people around Imam al-Hasan were just there to fight war and to get money from the people that died, to loot, yani. Because as you know, in war, when you fight, you kill someone, you're either killed or killed. If you're killed, you're done. If you kill the person that you killed, you take his sword, you go sell it. You take his shield, you go sell it. You take the armor, you go sell it. They were there for the money, the spoils of war, as we say. Four groups. And each of these four groups were easily bought. Easily bought. And Muawiyah knew this very clearly. He knew this. So he started to buy them out, bit by bit. Hello. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, he finds the spies that were amongst his people that were trying to kill him. He sends a letter to Muawiyah telling him, I found out about your plan. I'm summarizing here. I found out about your plan. I know what you were planning. And there was discussion back and forth until Muawiyah threatens Imam al-Hasan. He threatens Imam al-Hasan. War is declared. Now Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam has this army. And he now starts to move towards Muawiyah. And Muawiyah also gets his men ready. He's moving towards Imam Jameel. Riwayah says, they get to a place called Jisr al-Munbij or Jisr al-Manbij, an area, and they set up camp there. Again, they're moving towards each other. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam's army gets to this bridge, and they set up camp in this bridge or around this bridge. And by that time, a lot of the army leaders were bought out. Some of them left the army altogether. Some riwayat say that even some of the closest individuals to Imam al-Hasan were bought out. Some riwayat say that whether it's 100% true or not, a man by the name of Ubaidullah ibn Abbas, who was the cousin of Imam al-Hasan, was bought out by Muawiyah. He was one of the leaders or of the prominent figures in the army of Imam al-Hasan. So you find Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam is being betrayed. The people in his army are on shaky, thin ice. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam wants to test his men's loyalty. So what does he do? He stands in front of them and he says this. He says, I know what's better for you. I see what's better for you. I know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for you. And again, I'm summarizing right now. He says, I know what's better for you. I want you to obey me in everything that I say. Any decision that I make, don't stand against me. Just take it as it is and trust that I'm going to make the right decision. He's speaking in this manner. The people, they're like surprised, or they're just listening, trying to understand what Imam al-Hasan is saying, until one person or a group of people start to scream, Al-Hasan wants to give up. Al-Hasan wants to betray us. Al-Hassan wants to give in to Muawiyah. Al-Hassan wants to make peace. And as we said, there were people in the army that just wanted to fight Muawiyah. They wanted conflict. So the army of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam starts to stand against him while he's speaking to them. What do? They attack Imam al-Hassan. They attack him. The riwayah says they attacked him. The noble Shi'as around Imam al-Hassan, those that were actually loyal, they defended Imam al-Hassan until one man called Al-Jarrah ibn Sinan, he got through the defense and stabbed Imam al-Hassan in the thigh. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam was taken out of the crowd. He was brought to one of the houses of the loyal companions. He was treated for his wound, and now Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam has no army. They dispersed. Khalas. Whoever was bought out was bought out. Whoever followed their leaders, the tribal leaders, they followed. Whoever left, and whoever fought. Khalas. Now Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam is alone, with no companions, no supporters, or very little. He has to fight a whole army in Syria. And the people didn't know Muawiyah was a hypocrite. They thought Muawiyah was doing what he thought was right. They thought Muawiyah was doing what he saw to be correct. What is Imam Hassan going to do here? If he fights, he's going to die. And he's going to be killed by someone that the people think is righteous, by someone that people don't know his true colors. So Imam Hassan says, no, it makes no sense for me to fight. If the people know who he is, then fine, I'll fight. Like Imam Hussain, the people knew who Yazid was. So it was clear the haqq from the batil. It was clear for generations to come that Imam al-Hussein stood against an oppressor. But Imam al-Hassan fighting against Muawiyah and being slaughtered and killed. No one would have known, that Imam al-Hassan was standing against an oppressor. It would have went down in history as a righteous man named Muawiyah kills a rebel named al-Hassan. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam sees that there's no point in this. It's not going to guide anyone to the truth. Rather, it's going to label him as an oppressor instead of him being a freedom fighter or someone that's fighting for Islam. Jameel. What does Imam al-Hassan do? He says, the thing that I must do is not fight, is expose Muawiyah. What am I going to do? He sends Muawiyah a message and he says, listen, you want this chair, you want this political position, hey, you take it. Take it. You want it? Take it. It doesn't mean anything to me yet. I'm summarizing what he's saying. It's as if he says, hey, it doesn't mean anything to me. Imam Ali alayhi salam even said it. وَلَأَلْفَيْتُمْ دُنْيَاكُمْ هَذِهِ عَنْدِي أَزْهَدْ عَنْدِي مِنْ عَطْفَةِ عَنْزِ. Meaning of what he said. He says, and you would have seen that this dunya that you're running after is less in my eyes than the sneezing of a goat. It means nothing to me. You want this chair, you take it. I'm the imam. Whether I stand or I sit, I'm the imam. But I'm going to sign a peace treaty with you. And I'm going to put certain conditions in that peace treaty. And I want you to abide by those conditions. Yeah. Muawiyah says, no problem. Muawiyah signs the piece of paper before Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam even writes the conditions on the piece of paper. That's how much Muawiyah wanted to become the Khalif. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam writes in the peace treaty. He says, number one, first condition, none of the Shi'as are to be harmed. Number two, my supporters. Number two, if you die Muawiyah, you give me, al-Hassan, the Khilafah. If I'm dead, you give it to Imam al-Hussein, my brother. Number three, I am not to be harmed, al-Hassan, I'm not to be harmed. This is amongst the conditions. Number four, you are to follow the Sunnah of Ahlul Bayt, or the Sunnah of Rasulullah in the Quran. Not Ahlul Bayt, Sunnah of Rasulullah in the Quran. Number five, number six, some other conditions as well. Jameel. Muawiyah takes this peace treaty. He declares himself as the Khalifa. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam moves aside. And now Muawiyah is the Khalifa. Jameel. Muawiyah now has reached his goal. And anybody that has reached the goal, they understand and they know that the motivation starts to seep away. Yeah. When you reach your goal, the act that you've been putting on, the motivation that you had, the face that you had, khalas. You show your true colors because you got to what you want. If I'm a cheat and I got to what I want and I was using this false identity Well, when I get to my goal, there's no need for the false identity anymore. So bit by bit, it's going to dilute, go away. And my true colors are going to show. Muawiyah's true colors showed in his first speech after he became the Khalifa. Or the first few speeches, if not the first one. Listen what happened. It said Muawiyah goes to a place called An-Nukhayla. And he stands there with the people around him. What does he do? From his first speeches, if not the first speech itself, look what he says. He stands up, he takes the stand, he stands up in front of them and he says, the peace treaty between me and Al-Hassan, I put it under my feet. I did not fight you for you to pray, nor did I fight you for you to pay zakat. I fought you to have power, control, and authority over you. No Islam, no Muhammad ibn Abdullah, no Quran. This peace treaty is under my feet. Imam al-Hassan was killed by Ja'da bint al-Ash'ath, who was sent by Muawiyah. The Shi'as were persecuted. Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam had to fight Yazid for what was rightfully his under the peace treaty of Muawiyah, because when Muawiyah died, he gave it to Yazid. Now Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan is exposed. And everyone that reads history can know who Muawiyah truly was when he stood up and he said, I don't care if you fast, I don't care if you pray, I don't care if you go to Hajj, I don't care if you pay zakat, I don't care about any of that. I am now the king and alhamdulillah, khalas, mish al-hal, I'm good. This is what I've been wanting. This is my goal and I got it. I don't care what you guys do. Go kill each other. Yeah, and pretty much that's what he said. He said, go kill each other. I'm the Khalifa and I'm the king and I have what I want. The righteous man yesterday, when he gets what he wants, he shows himself for what he truly is, the hypocrite on the inside. And this is what Muawiyah did. Now history knows who Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan is. And history knows that Imam al-Hussein, when he stood up against Yazid, he was not merely a rebel. Rather, he was fighting for what was given to him by the peace treaty, by the agreement of Muawiyah. By Muawiyah himself signing. It's what put Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam in the eyes of the people in the place of power. Forget the people. Allah Ta'ala chose him, yes. But in the eyes of people that don't believe him to be the Imam, he's the rightful Khalifa because Muawiyah appointed him 10 years, 11 years ago. God knows how long it was, not more. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam exposes Muawiyah and paves the way for Imam al-Hussein. All of this, my brothers and sisters, for you to know the sacrifice of Imam al-Hassan. He was not weak, he was strong. He was strong. Because a man like Imam al-Hassan knows his value. For him to step aside for the sake of Islam, that is courage. That is the meaning of courage. And that, my brothers and sisters, is harder than to pick up a sword. You pick up a sword, you're either dead or you're going to kill. You're going to be victorious or you're going to die. But when you have pride, you know who you are, and you have people like Muawiyah, nobodies in the community, coming and trying to take away who you are, trying to destroy your image, trying to take away the value that you have. That's harder than 1,000 swords. Harder than 1,000 swords. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam, Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam showed his courage. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who know Imam al-Hassan, to make us from those who value Imam al-Hassan, to make us from those who love the Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam and learn from Imam al-Hassan, and to make us from those who truly understand who Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam was and his sacrifice for this blessed religion. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل على أحسن